Good evening and welcome to our kickoff show of Beyond the Front Page for the fall 2019 semester here at KEELER Community College and broadcast on Spectrum, Verizon, Fios, and the Auburn Regional Media Access, better known as ARMA, as well as WDWN, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. We are delighted to have in our studio, well really his studio, KEELER Community College's Director of Media and Telecommunications Programs, Steve KEELER, to discuss the college's telecom programs, recent Tele Awards they've won, as well as a discussion of the new drones program that his department is opening and operating, as well as a special walkthrough video or two that you'll be able to watch tonight about this great department. Welcome back to Beyond the Front Page.
Well, thank you, Guy, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about the telecom program and to be in the studio where we make it all happen.
You do, and so for those who may not know, what does telecom encompass?
So the telecom program here is really what we consider to be our media communications programs. So we have 4 degrees. We have a transfer degree in media communications. We have AAS degrees in media production, audio and music production, and telecommunications technology. And within those programs, we have concentrations in public relations, broadcast journalism, social media communications, film and video production, and cinema and screen studies. So we really encompass quite a lot in terms of media education, media communications, and media production education.
So how many students do you usually have enrolled in a given year? I won't say by semester, but in a given year.
Guy, it varies. We've had as many as 120, but generally we run around 70, 80 majors at any one time, which makes it one of the, if not the largest AAS program at the college.
So we should say, because not only because you're here, but everyone who's doing the work here, from the students, from the cameras to the control room, they're all students. They're all your students.
That's correct. What happens during this show is everyone working on the program is a student in video production, which is a course I teach. And students take 2 semesters of video production in the fall and the spring, and they work as the crew for this show and for all the shows people see that come out of the college that are regularly scheduled, half-hour talk shows, music shows, entertainment shows, what have you. So it's a really great hands-on experience. And doing the work here in the studio is just one small part of it.
And they will go from operating cameras to doing other things besides directing which camera makes me look good, will be also directing the shows as they get further along in their studies.
Right. Does it make you look good, Guy, really?
No, it doesn't, but we can always hope. So one other thing that you had mentioned the music program. You run C3 Records. First of all, what is C3 Records?
Well, so we have KEELER Records, and we have C3 Video, and we have the college radio station. These are all, I think of them as like student-run businesses. So KEELER Records is our record label. And in our record label, students produce albums for new and emerging regional artists. So it's a way to give young, up-and-coming, or even established regional artists a leg up by getting them in our studio and having our students produce albums for them.
So last week at the Auburn Public Theater, we were there for 2 records. I call them records. I'm sure that's not what they're CD drops. What was going on at the APT last Wednesday night?
So at the Auburn Public Theater, we released our 2 latest albums, one by singer-songwriter Ed Vivenzio, one by a young rock band, Glass Image, and those were I think the 29th and 30th albums since the start of KEELER Records. Yeah. C3 Video is our student-run production company, and that's an organization where students can produce videos for a variety of clients. It could be promotional videos, it could be instructional videos. Sometimes they do short documentaries. And then the college radio station, which has been around since 1971 and is the first radio station to be located in a community college in New York State. I consider that a student business as well, because we have students who manage the station for us. So a student station manager, a program director, a public service director. So those kinds of things give students a wide variety of experience in working independently and learning the media production business by actually doing it.
So the goal for many of these students is to leave here with a degree and to get a job. And you've had some really great placements with grads around the country. Where have they landed? I know some ESPN, NBC. What have they been doing? And some just regionally.
Sure. So, I think one of the things is that when a student gets a degree from us, they can either transfer or go into the workforce. And we have a long track record of students successfully transferring and going into the workforce. I think at this point we have at least 11 graduates who are Emmy winners. We have students who work for, as you said, ESPN. We have students at every television station in the Syracuse area. I was at a regional show the other day, the Broadcast Technology Expo that was in Syracuse, and I ran into several of our alums. One is the operations manager for the ACC network. Another is the chief engineer of the broadcasting operations at SUNY Oswego. Another one runs the Cable Access Center in Cortland, New York.
All grads of Cayuga.
All grads of Cayuga. So they do very well. In fact, just last week, 2 grads stopped by. One, Ryan Murphy, is the senior A&R director for Capitol Records, one of the biggest record labels in the world.
For those who don't know what A&R is.
Artists and repertoire.
Okay.
He finds new acts for the label and then nurtures them through their first release.
Okay.
It's a great, great job. If you want to know, the most famous A&R man in the world was George Martin, who was the A&R man for the Beatles.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then who stopped? Aaron Perry stopped by, who goes by the name of Chili Walker. He graduated about 30 years ago, and he's been all over the country as a radio station program director, currently working for a radio group in Charleston, South Carolina.
So they come back and they also help your students and they come talk to your students. How big a staff do you have?
We have a relatively small staff. We make use of a lot of adjunct faculty members. What I like to do is bring in people to teach courses who are working in the industry. So they're working in the business while they're teaching. I think that makes a big difference because they're current, they know what's going on, and they're able to give very current knowledge to students. And I think that's really important because, our business, for better or worse, is based on a lot of technology. I mean, it's not just creativity and ideas, but it's the technology and the tools that we use. So it's important to have people who are in the business right now and who know the current technology, know the current standards, and can talk to students about that.
And I know Mike Morano, who directs this show, he does teaches on both campuses, so you have programs on both campuses?
We offer some of our courses in Fulton, but our facilities are here in Auburn.
Okay.
So if someone can go to Fulton for the first year, but then for that second year, they've got to come here.
So that's a great lead-in. You have a video to show us a little bit about what you're doing here. You're going to narrate.
Right. We did a walkthrough of the facilities so that our viewers could see, what our facilities look like.
Let's take a look.
Okay. So this is our video editing lab. This is a room that's dedicated to video editing. It's got 6 stations. We use Avid Media Composer, which is an industry standard. Most feature films in the world are edited on Avid Media Composer. And we're one of the few community colleges and the smallest community college to offer certification in Avid Media Composer. So a student can leave here certified as a level 1 Avid Media Composer editor. That is a great entry-level position to have. And here we're seeing it again. It looks like it's running twice. And it took us a while to get our own video editing lab like this and to get it set up the way we wanted to. So you'll notice the table in the middle. We also use this room for small seminars, for small classes. Students use the room for meetings. It's really a versatile room. Now here we'll have a look at our TV studio. That's where you and I are right now, so we can see it. And you can see this was shot last week when students were learning how to do this show. We were giving them some instruction how to set it up, how to use the cameras, how to wire it for audio. It's a pretty standard studio. It's a 3-camera studio like most television studios are. It's got a blue backdrop. We have a green screen. We have a full lighting grid, and we're using all LED lights now, so very low power consumption, cool to the touch, very modern. And you can see the students working on the show. And here we have a look at what the cameras are that we use. We're using HD cameras now, and they're very, very good. They produce a really fine picture, and you can see they also have teleprompters. This is the control room for the studio, so you can see what our control room looks like, and it's very similar to any television station or studio or facilities control room. It's got a spot for a director. You can see that's where the director would sit, and then next to the director, you'll see our video switcher. That's where the technical director sits. And then next to that, you'll see the graphics station. Next to that, you'll see our virtual set generator. We use a lot of virtual sets. There's some graphics right there beyond the front page with Guy Cosentino. And there's our virtual set generator. We use a lot of virtual sets when we do entertainment programming. That's our teleprompter station, sound waves and shows like that. And then next to the teleprompter station is the audio station. So students will work all of those jobs. So today, when we're doing this show right now, there are students manning every one of those positions. And then behind them is our engineering section, and that's where our engineers and student engineers work. They shade the cameras, adjust cameras, record the shows, and that's where they play back the shows in the evening.
And there's about 6 or 7 students up there right now doing all of this.
Exactly. This is the control room for the radio station. This is where the DJs work. We just installed a completely new console and completely new programming software this summer. So we have the latest and greatest equipment in there, better than what many commercial radio stations have in place right now. The station, as you know, it broadcasts on 89.1 FM in Auburn and 97.7 FM in Fulton. It streams at wdwn.fm, and you can pick it up on your phone by using an app. We use 2 apps, Radio Effects and TuneIn. This is an audio production room. We have 2 of these rooms. These are the rooms we use for producing audio material for the radio station, but it's also the entry-level audio room where students learn how to produce material for all kinds of audio uses. And both rooms are set up the same. They've got a nice Mac computer, they've got a console, they've got a microphone, and we can listen and produce in both stereo sound and surround sound. So they're really, great rooms for that.
Is the technology really mainly Mac-based?
No, not really.
Okay.
A lot of PC-based too. That our video editing room is PC-based. This is the radio lobby. This is where our student employees who manage the station work, and you can see it looks like a student radio lobby. Lots of posters, lots of stickers. We get literally thousands of songs from new and emerging recording artists and all kinds of promotional material from them.
Do they send
during the year?
Downloads, or do they send CDs?
Some still send CDs, some send downloads, some send us flash drives. It just really depends. This is the second of the 2 audio editing suites. It's set up exactly the same as the first one, but it has more space. One to allow for instruction, the other to allow students to bring in instruments if they want to do some instrument and vocal recording, and they don't want to do it down in our recording studio. They just want to do some kind of quick session upstairs. We have a sign-out room. We do provide students with cameras, cables, lighting gear, audio gear, boom poles, microphones, everything they need to mount a field production or a remote production outside the college. And in the course of their studies here, they have several of those kinds of projects to do. We're part of SOMA, the School of Media and the Arts, and this is the entryway to SOMA. And you can see we've set it up with this nice counter space and outlets so students can work and it's kind of just hang out there. It's become a very social space for students. And it connects us to another part of our facility which we share, some of which we share with the music department. Now here is the control room for our recording studio. We have a really nice recording studio. It's very similar to what you'd find at an independent record label. So here you see our console. It's a Pro Tools studio, and it's an instructional space at the same time. So students can get instruction in here, and then they can also use it for recording, bands, vocalists, whatever. You can see the monitor up on the ceiling so that they can see whatever the instructor is doing without having to crowd around the console. But it's a very state-of-the-art facility, and one, if you're a student in one of our audio programs, either audio production or music recording, you pretty much live in this space in your second year because you're going to be in here learning how to mic instruments, learning how to mic vocals. You're going to be recording all kinds of material, whether it's instruments, groups, vocalists, choruses, jazz bands, whatever. Over there is our collection of cables, and in that cabinet we have about 50 or 60 microphones for students to use. So it's a really, really well-equipped facility. And you can see through the windows, that's the studio floor, and that's right here. And this is where the recording artists work. And you can see we provide some things like a drum kit, guitars, keyboards, mic stands. We have all kinds of materials we can use to isolate instruments and vocalists. We have all kinds of soft material and acoustic material to cut down on sound reflection. So it's a really great studio for doing a wide variety of music recording.
So were some of the KEELER records that you
all of the
produced?
KEELER Records albums are produced in here.
That, okay.
Yeah. And then this is called the Media Lab. And the Media Lab, what this is, it's a computer lab reserved just for our department. And so you can see it's got 14 workstations plus an instructor station, really nice brand new Mac computers, 25-inch screens, so there's a lot of screen real estate. And this is where students learn how to do audio editing, video editing, graphics, computer animation, game design, script writing. And when they're not taking classes in the room like these students are, then students are free to come in and work on their own projects. And this is a room we really try to keep this up to date and cycle through these computers every few years. Then this is our newest facility. This is called the Multipurpose Performance Center, and you can see it has tiered seating. It has windows, but you'll notice on the middle window blackout shades, so we can black it out during the day. It has a sound system, it has lights, it has monitors for sound. So this is where our ensembles play, our rock ensemble, our jazz ensemble, our various choruses, and we can do live performances in here. And the nice thing about it is we have it set up with a control room, and in the control room, it's like having another control room like we do in this studio. We can do multi-camera shoots and we can do multi-track audio recordings. So this room, the Multipurpose Performance Center, gives us the capability of doing live recordings with an audience, with a live audience, something that we can't do in the studio that we're in now. And you can see we put a couple of windows in. Those are soundproof windows, and that's a look into the control room for the facility. And then the control room is really nice because the control room, and this is a shot of the control room, it includes a whole video section where we can do our switching, we can do our video recording, we can mix audio, we can monitor the video, and we can run up to 4 cameras simultaneously, and we can stream from here live onto our YouTube channel. So, whenever we bring in a performer, whether it's one of our in-house school groups or whether it's an outside performer, we can do a 4-camera shoot, we can record it, we can stream it live, and then you can see we have a nice view of the performance space. This is the audio side where we can do multi-track audio recordings while we're doing a live performance in front of a live audience. It's a very exciting facility, and it gives us a whole new capability that we've never had before in the history of the institution. This room is just a couple of years old now, but it's a really great facility, and it's a really, we think of it as our secondary studio, but it really does a lot for us. And here you can see our logos for KEELER Records, Win89, and C3 Video. Those are we talked about our student-run organizations that enable students to get real-world, hands-on experience, and that's pretty it. That's it. That's the end of the tour.
So you mentioned a couple of things. I just want to real quickly. Your radio station, does that run how many hours a week?
Yeah, the radio station is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The DJs are students and community volunteers. And it's really just a great experience.
And I know Jeff Sesniak's up in the studio now, and
he's the advisor for the radio station, and
Okay.
it's what we call a college alternative format. It's new and emerging rock, rap, hip-hop, electronica, punk, those kinds of artists.
And you mentioned YouTube. So, for example, we're going to do the forum starting next week, and
Right.
I know you have set this up so that somebody can go live stream the
Yes,
forum.
we live stream all the shows that we do in the TV studio, like this one. This is on our YouTube channel live right now. It's also being recorded so that we can play it on cable later tonight.
Because you have relationships with Spectrum and
Verizon.
And ARMA we might get to at the end.
Right.
What's a Tele Award?
Oh, the Tele Awards. I'm sorry, I meant to show you these. This is a Tele Award. Tele Awards are an international competition, and our students won 2 Tele Awards this year. The Teles, and you can see what that area are, the Tele Awards.
So who awards
the Tele
them?
Awards, I guess, are what we would call the Tele organization awards them. And these are the non-broadcast Emmys. So it's for things that are not broadcast on network television or HBO. Organizations that produce film and videos.
So it's not just college students?
No, it's not just college students.
Okay.
So our students are competing against people from all over the world. I think there were over 12,000 entries in the Teles this year. And our students won for 2 different promotional videos that they did. It's really an unusual thing for students to win Tele Awards.
So what were the 2 for?
They both did promotional pieces on the telecom department.
Okay.
One did a promotional piece on our media production degree, and then the other group did a promotional piece on the media production department. So and it was part of a class.
And so has the college won these before?
Yeah, these represent our 6th and 7th Tele Awards. I think I can say that that's more than any other college in New York State has ever won. Like I said, it's prestigious. It's unusual for students to win.
This is great.
And I think it's a very, very big deal for the college and for the students.
Could you show us some samples of the work they do?
Yeah, I think we have those. We can see both of the pieces that were winning pieces.
Well, let's take a look.
Colleges always have the tools required to make students succeed, but they often miss the most crucial part, the enthusiasm it takes to help students thrive in their creativity. Too many schools limit student opportunities to class time and long lectures.
Oh, that is awesome.
We know that we live to learn and learn through living the experience. We provide professional opportunities outside of the classroom and build connections for your future. Find your place in the industry, whether it's creative, technical, or business-oriented.
Learn the behind the scenes of all things broadcast.
With so many directions to take, you're never limited to just one option.
Telecom is fun.
The telecom department at CCC encourages students to get creative, and with professors that care, we work together to make it hard to fail.
Now you've joined the tour. Make sure you sign up for Telecom.
Want to learn how to produce commercials like this one? Apply now and get involved in Cayuga Community College's Telecommunications Department.
So whether you believe it or not, I do think that Mr. Brill and Mr. Cesniak do make us look good and sound good. So
Well,
I would say
that's
that.
their job.
And I noticed that one thing on the videos. Well, first of all, a quick question on the teles. Do those go to the school? Do those students get to take them? It looks like those were group efforts. These are not just one.
Right, they're group efforts. So the students all got individual certificates, and then the college gets to keep the statuettes, which we put in our display case.
Outside the
Yes.
studio here, and it's great for their resumes.
Oh, absolutely great for their resumes.
So I noticed in the video, there's a new program that you've started in the last couple of months, which is your new drone program. What is this new initiative?
So with the drones, and I brought a drone for you to look at. This is what they look like. These are the drones we're using for training right now. These are called Mavic Pros, and they are great. They've got a nice camera. They're highly programmable, so they represent the state of the art in drone technology right now. And so I've been offering a course in aerial cinematography because, you know, we're a media production program. And what's one of the big uses for drones? Well, that is to take film and video in the film industry. It gives the film industry a whole new capability that it never had before. If a filmmaker wanted to do aerial shots prior to having drones like this, they had to hire a helicopter. It's expensive. There's not that many of them. There's not that many pilots that shoot. There's not that many camera people who can shoot from a helicopter. Yeah, you're always subject to the weather. Now, with the drone technology, the cost is so low that I think there's very few programs that we see on television, or very few films we see now without some kind of aerial shot. So it's opened up whole new possibilities for students who want to get into the business if they can fly a drone, if they can program a drone, and if they know how to shoot film and video with that drone.
So you're teaching all through. It's not just high. I've seen a number of drones crash and burn. It's because there's not a lot of hand-eye coordination. That's a different issue. You're teaching all three.
Well, yes, we're teaching them how to shoot film and video with the drone, and we're teaching them how to program these drones because they have a lot of automatic flight capability, which is really great when you're shooting film. I mean, one thing one of these drones can do is you can set it to follow a person or an object, and it will automatically follow that person or object.
Whether somebody's got a joystick watching.
Exactly. I mean, that's just one small thing that it can do. So the other thing we're doing now is we're offering, starting next year, we'll be offering courses in drone pilot certification. So a student will be eligible and will have the knowledge to successfully pass the FAA drone pilot's exam. Very important because one cannot use a drone for commercial purposes without an FAA pilot's license.
And as we've seen with the airport issues in the last couple of months, this is a highly regulated area.
Right, it's extremely highly regulated, and what the current law says, if you don't have an FAA pilot's license, you cannot use the drone for commercial purposes.
So how are you funding this?
We fund it out of the regular college budget.
Okay.
But the great thing is that the cost of drones has come down to the point where the college can afford to fund it.
So I wanted to ask you an economic development issue because we've obviously having, in Central New York, drones are now a hot topic, especially
the drone corridor.
The corridor, especially on the eastern part of Central New York.
Right.
From an economic development perspective, how do you see Cayuga playing into that process?
Well, I think in my department, the way we'll play into the process is we'll be training future filmmakers how to shoot with drones. In addition, those students who get certified by the FAA will also be able to do things like shoot for real estate companies, do roof inspections, do building inspections. Anything whole new world, anything that a licensed pilot can do, they'll be able to do. However, our focus, because we're a media production program, is on cinematography and photography with drones.
And I know you have a video on this. Would you mind showing us that?
Yeah, we have a short video, and it's really just a little,
what I call it, video.
It's a little sizzle piece that I had one of our students, Abby Carlick, put together with me. It's just shots that I've done in the past year with drones that I show to students to show them the sort of variety of things that they can shoot with drones. So there's a bit from a commercial, a bit from a video about billboards, there's a bit from a wedding, and then there's a bit from me doing some instruction.
All right, let's take a look.
Positioned as a left-hand read on State Route 20, The panel has a long, wide-open read and is seen by thousands of travelers each week. 8 advertisers share this panel, each receiving 1,225 8-second commercials daily. With a low cost per commercial and the ability to change your design daily, this dynamic electronic billboard is a game changer. This location delivers multiple viewing angles for travelers heading west to Seneca Falls and Waterloo, going north to Del Lago, the Waterloo outlets, or the New York State Thruway, and those traveling south and heading east or west from 318. This left-hand read is perfectly situated, just 8 advertisers share this panel, each receiving 1,225 8-second commercials daily. With a low cost per commercial and the ability to change your design daily, this new electronic billboard should be part of any marketing plan.
So, just a different perspective on Emerson Park and the arterial and the interchange over by as you're going over to Prime Outlets in Seneca Falls. So, from a commercial point of view, advertising?
How do you mean?
Well, would somebody use drones for advertising as well?
Sure. I mean, there's you can use the idea with a drone and aerial footage is that you're giving a viewer a different view of something. So, for instance, in the very beginning of that piece, it was a commercial for the college, and so until the advent of drones, the college certainly wasn't going to go out and hire a helicopter to get an aerial view of the college for one of its commercials, but with the capabilities that a drone has, now for almost no cost, we can see an aerial view of the college. So I think when you look at that video, the important thing to think about it is all the various things a student might do with a drone if they're trained well. They can do surveying, they can work for a company that produces commercials, they can do corporate videos, they can do films, they can do documentaries. There's a whole new world opening up for students if they're well trained in the operation of drones, know the rules, know how to operate it safely, and know how to shoot good footage.
So you've been here roughly 2 decades, roughly.
Yeah,
you've gone from videotape, videotape, to CDs to digital. What's the trend? What do you want your students next looking at?
Well, what I want students to next look at is how technology changes. I think if they know how it's changed in the past, they can be thinking about how it's going to change in the future, because for all of these students, if they want to have a long career in this business, they've got to adapt to technological change. And they're going to have to continue to adapt to technological change. It's hard to predict where it's going.
You wouldn't have had game design 15 years ago.
Right. We wouldn't have had game design. We wouldn't have had drones. We wouldn't have had a lot of the things that we have now. So the important thing is to be able to spot the trends, spot the changes, and adapt to them. When I went to college, we used film. And I knew a lot of filmmakers, and television stations used film for news. I knew plenty of people who worked in news who didn't want to make the transition from film to video and got out of it. I knew plenty of people in television who didn't want to make the change from tape to digital formats and got out of it. So if you want to have a long career in this business, you've got to be able to adapt to that technological change, and you've got to want to keep learning. And I think that's true in a lot of businesses. You've got to want to keep learning. The basics stay the same. A good picture is going to be a good picture no matter what. The rules of composition don't change. But what changes are some of the tools that we might use to create those pictures.
Just 2 final questions. This is the time of year in a given year where parents and students, high school students, are looking at colleges and and where they want to go the following year and beyond that. Why should they come to Cayuga? More importantly, why should they come to your department?
I think if a student wants a hands-on experience from the very first day they come here, this is the program for them. If a student wants a broad experience in all areas of media and media production, this is the program for them. And I think if a student wants small classes, instructors that are knowledgeable and that care about their learning, this is the program for them.
And how can they find out more about specifically telecom?
We have a website, telcomcayuga.com. That's TELCOMCAYUGA, telcomcayuga.com. That's the best place to go. You can also go to the college's website, cayuga-cc.edu. You can find out all the information you want about the college and about this program by going to those two websites.
Well, I want to thank you for giving us the last half hour to talk about the telecom department that you run with your staff. They do a great job up here, and they provide a great public service to our community. So thanks for being with us for the last half hour.
Well, thanks for having me, Guy. I appreciate the opportunity to let people see us behind the scenes.
So our guest has been Community College's Director of Media and Telecommunications Program, Steve Keeler. We'll return on Thursday with both of the Board of Elections Commissioners for the Republican and Democrats, Cheryl Harry and Katie Lacey from the Cayuga County Board of Elections, to talk about this inaugural year of early voting. You might start getting postcards in the mail for that. From the candidates. That will be followed by Beyond the Front Page, which we will have Gino Albarisi and his son Jeff, who is a teacher with the Auburn Large School District, on to discuss why their family is leading this year's United Way campaign, as well as Cayuga County United Way's Executive Director, Karen Macier. Next Tuesday, we do start a series of 7 forums for the offices in Cayuga County, including the Cayuga County Legislature, Auburn City Council, and the race for mayor. These are brought to you by this department and the college, as well as the Citizen. On October 8th, we will have the race for Cayuga County Legislative District 8. It's a rematch between incumbent Joseph DeForest, who is a Democrat, and the incumbent Ann Hans Petcher, who is a Republican. Followed on Thursday, October 10th, with a face-off between Republican Edward Darrow and Democrat Heidi Nightingale for the open seat that was created in the 10th District, or is being created in the 10th District, by Joseph Bennett, who's a legislator who's decided not to seek re-election this year. I'll moderate the forums as well as Jeremy Boyer will be here as usual, the executive editor of The Citizen, to ask the questions. Before we go, though, we would like to let you know that you can send us your ideas for questions or future guests for both Inside Government or Beyond the Front Page to cozguitho@aol.com, or Inside Government or Beyond the Front Page if you want to use snail mail to 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York 13021. I'm Guy Cosentino for Cayuga Community College. We want to thank you for watching. We hope you have a good night and a great tomorrow.